Let's begin the class trial. You can figure out who done it. Punish everyone besides him. Now then, to begin with, we already know who did it. What's up? It was Hiro. He does not have an alibi for when the murders took place, and we found him in that suit. Don't try to deny it. You killed them. Like, I didn't, man. Someone knocked me out. I was asleep the whole time, man. I don't know anything about it. Shut up, you murdering mouth murderer. Like, you're calling me a murderer? I'm sorry to say, Hiro, but we have evidence. Blueprints for the suit. Parts we assume were used to build it. And all of that was found in your room. You have to admit, the evidence is quite compelling. It points to you having created the suit, wearing it while committing the crime, after crime. Like, how many times do I have to tell you? I don't know, man. I don't know, and I don't know. Like, is Hiro really the killer, or... Before anything else, I have to make that clear. Nope. His handwriting was too good! Are we sure Hiro really made those blueprints? What do you think? Well, take a look at this. It's the note that Hiro wrote asking everyone to meet after Alter Ego disappeared. The handwriting's obviously different, wouldn't you say? When you compare it to the blueprints, there's no way that they can think that the same person made both of them. Unless that person made a point to disguise their handwriting. But Hiro's too stupid for that. No, the differences are bigger than that, I think. Like, come on! I'm not smart enough to think of trying to change my handwriting anyway, man! I'd actually believe that. So, Makoto, are you saying you don't think Hiro's the culprit? And he's not the only one. I think Hiro is innocent as well. Well, at least, you know, Mr. Douchebag has common sense. Nani? Then who made the Robo-Justice suit? Is it like Hiro said? Was there really someone running around in a second suit? The suspicious individual hidden within the suit. Go ahead, Makoto. Tell them who it was. It had to be Hiro. He was still in the suit. And of course he passes it to me. So, who was in the Robo-Justice suit? The suspicious individual had to be the Illuminati, of course. Other than Hiro, I can't think of anyone else who could have been. Obviously, he was the one in that particular suit, and we never found any kind of second suit. Then there could be no doubt Hiro is the prime suspect. That doesn't make any sense! You just said Hiro didn't do it! It makes perfect sense. Hiro was the suspicious individual in the suit, but he's not the culprit. They pinned it on him! So what you're saying is, that's right, the culprit in this case has nothing to do with being in the Robo-Justice suit. Nani? Now that's a bold assumption! And what reason do you have to make such a statement? Do you have you do have a reason, yes? Of course, but before we get into that, there's something else we need to clarify first, so let's just get that out of the way. Hey, stop trying to boss us around! All things have a proper order. So, what is it? What needs to be clarified? We must clarify the method of transportation for Taka's lifeless body. It would seem that his corpse was moved using a certain particular item. Makoto, can you tell us what they were? The things that were used to move Taka's body, they must have been the tarp and the buggy thing. There's still one more thing. The thing that was used to move Taka's body. The dolly. They were the dolly and the tarp, right? In other words, we think they used the dolly to move the body, am I right? But are you sure you're not mistaken? Huh? Are you absolutely positive? Oh my god, there's bloodstains. Like, none of you do investigating? There's bloodstains on the wheel. They pushed it through the blood. Like, I don't even understand how you could be this stupid. Are you absolutely positive the dolly was used? It was in the equipment room when we found Taka's body. Yes, because it started off in the repository during daily life. I remember it. I don't know if you guys do, but I remember it was in the repository the first time. So someone pre-murder, like, prepped it into the equipment room. So that way they could push it back to the repository, where it was to begin with. That dolly was made specifically for moving large objects between the repository and the item. It would be very strange indeed to discover it had been made its way to the equipment room. It Is it not possible that it was there in the repository all along and you simply didn't realize it? She's raised an objection. How do you respond? There's no shame in being wrong. Nobody expects much from you. Oh my god, I'm gonna fight you. We all have accepted the fact that you will rarely understand what is going on. Are you kidding me? I literally solved the other 2 cases! Are you fucking high? Are you high? What? Wow, I've never had anyone sound so nice while being so mean, but maybe I can change your mind. If I can just explain to them why the dolly must have been moved to the equipment room from the repository. I hate the, like, initial change. What do you mean I didn't hit that one? Final strike. Equipment room bloods. Are you absolutely positive that was in the equipment room when you found Taka's body? If you're asking for proof that the dolly moved, I have it right here. When I found the dolly in the repository, one of the wheels had a blood stain on it. And there was a pool of blood in the equipment room with a tire mark that it matched, and it matched the dolly's wheel tread. The killer probably rolled the dolly through the blood on accident as they wheeled the body out of the room. And as the blood dried on the tire, they moved, the blood dried on the tire, they moved the body into the repository. So there's proof that the dolly was used to move Taka's body. Jeez, does Celeste really hate me that much? Well, anyway, that was just something we had to get out of the way. Let's get back to the main subject. Yeah, the subject of how Robo Justice didn't do it. Because if it's not a killer robot, then what kind of robot is it? It's a distraction to get us away from who the real culprit is, dum-dum. I'm not sure that really matters. I'd be happy to explain why the occupant of the suit couldn't possibly be the killer. If you look back at how the body was transported, it will become immediately obvious. If I look back at how it was moved, it will be clear why the person in the suit couldn't have done it. But what does he mean by that? Now, keep in mind that the dolly doesn't have a handle. Well, yeah, but even without a handle, all you'd have to do is bend over. You can't bend at the waist in the suit. You're absolutely right that you could push the dolly without a handle if you stoop down low. But if you were wearing that suit, do you think you could actually get into that position? What do you mean? Think back to what you said when you were all checking out the suit together, remember? I'm blind as a bat in here. I can't see my feet at all. I'm surprised you got anywhere in this thing. Like, I'm telling you, it wasn't me, man. And not to mention, you totally can't bend at the waist. It seems like a pretty obvious oversight. So it's really, really true that Robo Justice couldn't have moved the dolly? To be clear, whoever did move the body, it couldn't have been Hero in the Robo suit, correct? No, wait, just a second if you please. Have you forgotten about the picture that I took? You all got a look at it, didn't you? The image of Hifumi being dragged away by Robo Justice. If whoever was in the suit was not the culprit, how do you explain that? So long as those facts exist, the proper conclusion is beyond question. The individual inside the suit and the culprit are one and the same. It was Hiro, without a doubt. Yeah, that's gotta be right. Like, hold on a sec, man! It's still far too early to come to that conclusion. Besides, there's no hurry to decide who did it. Before we rush to a verdict, shouldn't we explore every single possibility? Instead of seizing one viewpoint, the truth is uncovered by analyzing things from every angle. Perhaps, but where do we go from here? Let's review the series of unfortunate events from the beginning. Maybe we'll cover something new. So the Baudelaires were the Baudelaires were shipped off to their crazy uncle, or whatever the hell he was. I forget now. What a pain in the ass! Ow, that hurt my throat. I don't disagree, but our lives are on the line. If this is what it takes, we have to do it. Plus, maybe we'll get to find out where the heck Kyoko was when everything went down. It certainly seems to me that there's not a simple series of connected events. Okay, well, if that's true, then what? Rather than a single series of events, I think we have to consider each murder a separate situation. And from there, we can uncover the contradictions surrounding all of them. Now then, let's get started, beginning with what happened to Taka. The contradictions hidden to what happened to Taka. In order to uncover the truth of this case, I have to find them, no matter what. So, regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi. Or perhaps it was after. Well, we already know... Wait, we already know the order. Taka came last. Was that really true? What makes you say that? Because the numbering of the Justice Hammers, right? It was true that Hifumi was killed with Justice Hammer 3, while Taka came with a swing of Justice Hammer 4. So it's obvious that Taka came after. Is that really true, though? The order the Justice Hammers were used to commit the murders, something about that bothers me. So regarding Taka's death, I wonder if he died before Hifumi, or perhaps it was after. I don't think that was the correct order. Sorichi Gando! I think Taka died first. Hold on, there's no reason to assume that the hammers were used in the same order as their numbers. If anything, that's just another way the killer tried to disguise their actions. So you're saying the culprit wanted to think the hammers were used in order, but in reality Taka was killed before Hifumi. Okay then, let's see the proof. His wristwatch! Evidence that proves Taka was killed before Hifumi. I feel like there was something. His wristwatch! His wristwatch! It was broken at 6 a.m. Bam! Bam. The wristwatch. Complete. I've got it! Taka's wristwatch! See, look, it broke with the hands pointing just past 6 o'clock. It must have gotten broken when he was attacked by the killer because of last night. Hey, you! How long are you gonna keep us waiting? Taka's irritated voice pierced the air as he stared pointedly at his wristwatch. It's almost 10 o'clock, you know that? Bedtime for all the little boys and girls! So if it wasn't broken after 6 last night, then he must have gotten attacked around 6 this morning. And that would be his official time of death. But if that is true, then he was killed well before Hifumi. And before Celeste was attacked this morning, which happened around 7. That's right, Taka was killed before any of the other incidents took place. That simple fact slipped past all of us. We made a wrong assumption about the order of the events all because of those Justice Hammers. That's exactly why the culprit wrote the numbers on each hammer and had them increase in size. That way, when we saw how they were used in each incident, we'd easily make the wrong assumption. It's like that joke someone played where it's like, if you want to send police on a wild ride, release 3 pigs into like a crowded mall or some shit, and label them 1, 2, and 4, so that way they'll like be running around forever searching for 3 or some shit like that. I saw that it was like a meme thing or something. I don't know. Now, if Taka was killed around 6, then everyone's alibis for the murder go out the window, because when he was killed, we hadn't met up at the dining hall yet. That may be true in the case of Taka's murder, but all of our alibis still hold true for Hifumi's death. That's right. With him, at least, we're all safe. In other words, it is impossible that any one of us could have killed Hifumi or moved either of the bodies. On the other hand, Hiro and Kyoko had disappeared, so they most certainly could have done those things. So now, what now, Kyoko? For now, we can't get fixated on who did it, or we'll just keep going around in circles. So instead of who, I propose we start talking about how. In particular, I think we need to figure out how Hifumi's body got moved. That's true, we searched everywhere, but we couldn't figure out how to explain his body disappearing. And according to what Celeste said, we could not have been gone for more than a minute or 2, though. So then the killer was able to get in and move Hifumi's body in a short amount of time. It would seem so. It would seem so. His body apparently disappeared in the 1 minute her and Hina took their eyes off of it. But to carry that much weight from the 1st floor up to the 3rd floor in a short amount of time? Like, oh man, yeah, there's no way. It'd be impossible, man. Well, what if I told you that there was a way to make the impossible possible? What? How? If the dead body were to move itself. There it is, baby! He was still alive! Meaning, he was working with the killer. BAM! Case closed, baby! Just kidding, not case closed yet. Huh? The body moved on its own? Like, no, you got another ghost! I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think she was simply implying is, we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive. He was alive? Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own? But I mean, we found his body. He was dead. Perhaps he was simply playing dead. That isn't possible. The idea that Hifumi was still alive, is it really possible? Someone else's discovery. Oh, I'm stupid. Okay, alright, we got it. It is simply impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt. And you know that how? Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with most of us. What if it was somebody else's discovery? So what you go? No, there it is. Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi? Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body. Maybe, but there was also the same time that Taka's body was found. That's right, it wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement. So there's a good chance that we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was Hifumi or Taka. First of all, if 2 bodies have been found, there really should have been 2 announcements. Then maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together in one. What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment? Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time. Then that didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum. No, actually, that was plenty. Like, huh? He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we found the same body again later, we won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on? Huh? Later on? Exactly, we heard the body discovery announcement twice. The second body discovery announcement, the first time was played when we found each body in the nurse's office in the equipment room, and the second time was when they were rediscovered. Meaning that's when we finally see that Hifumi was dead. We heard the second time in the repository when we rediscovered the 2 bodies. Bing, bing, bing. A body has been discovered! After a certain amount of time, which you may use however you like, the class trial will begin. It didn't seem weird at the time, but contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it? Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played. Then, in reality, when the 2 bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time. There has to be proof that shows Hifumi was still alive. I have to find it and show it to everyone. It's his glasses, right? Yep. Well, there's one thing we do know. The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office. And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, the body disappeared. And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository. But when you compare his body before it was moved and his body after he moved, there was no, and a change in its position, there was no noticeable difference. Soichigando! His glasses were clean. In fact, there was one clear difference between him and the Hifumi in the nurse's office and in the repository. His glasses. The fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning. Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered in blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found an item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can. The evidence I found in the trash can was the glasses cleaning cloth. It was his glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. I looked at the bloodstain on the cloth, and one look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on his digital camera, right? Whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course. That character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think. I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like that to this school. I see your point, and the only people here who wear glasses are. I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that. A few tissues is all I need to clean my glasses. And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse. The one who moved Taka was Taka himself. Is Hifumi. It could only have been Hifumi. While we all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body. That also explains how the door to the repository got locked. The door was locked? Like after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked. And the repository door can only be locked from on the inside, which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside. And it could have only been Hifumi, who had just finished stashing Taka's body there. He convinced all of us he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case, he was one of the assailants. But that means he took part in the murders! I just can't believe it! If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence? There's more?! Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item you took off Taka's lifeless body? The note. The note Hifumi had. You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you? A hidden note? That's right, we found it stuffed in his pants. What? In his pants? Yes, his pants. Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says. I found a hole maybe we can use to escape. Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet up in the equipment room at 6 a.m. Huh? Like, that's the note I was telling you about, man. The one that told me where to go, man. Huh? Wait, but this one's a little different, man. In my note, it said, like, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Like, let's meet up in the rec room at 1 a.m. I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got. Like, it's not the same, man? In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could have only been Hifumi's pants. Taka. That's right, Taka! The killer used the note to draw out Taka and murder him. Hello, over here, objection, objection. I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote the note isn't drawing out TikTok, they're just drawing out Huffy. Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right? Oh, yes, why must you ruin every time? Man, Genocide Jack is seriously scary, but I can't let her get to me. What time did it say to me? 6 a.m., I believe. The time doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with TikTok. No, there absolutely is a connection. What? What the hell are you talking about? The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right? Which is where Taka was killed, I see. So Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that the note was definitely meant for Taka. Well, when you put it like that. No further objections. Like, then someone used the note to trick Taka, just the same as me, man. Gah, the culprit really is a cold-blooded monster, man. Telling people they'd found a way out, man. Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it. Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind one small scrap. Did I get that all right? That means Hifumi knew the note was important. Exactly, which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder. What? Yeah, like, after seeing this, Hifumi was, like, super involved in the whole thing for sure, man. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive, man. Like, sorry, no. He's truly dead now. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that. So then, who killed Hifumi? Whoever did it is the mastermind, the true killer. He was killed in the repository, so he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body. So he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository. During the time, we all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis. Wait, but me and Sakura were together! Stop trying to steal a spotlight, you stupid walrus! Who are you calling a walrus? So, Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him. And whoever did it was the true killer, the one who Hifumi was working with and the one that betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit from helping someone carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not? We did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least, that's what we thought at first, but in this case, there are two murderers. Is it a possibility of an accomplice really that insane? Or is there some chance that maybe someone was acting alone until they were betrayed? It's not impossible. Sorichigango! Since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved. What do you mean? If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit. Risk versus reward benefit? The payoff for working together, the reward that balances out the risk of taking part in the scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, the cooperation becomes possible. You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders. I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on. So, in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating a seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all. The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning. That's just awful! How could anyone be so cruel? You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. It's cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd. The effort made to convince us the two murderers were the same, and that the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed the fact from the very beginning, which is why she said not to look at a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing. Although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this. I understand how an accomplice could get involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings? The only other one that saw robo-justice. That's problem numero uno, right? The true killer manipulated Hifumi to carry out the number of actions, and in the end, murdered him. In the debates up till now, the way this case is unfolded, when you consider it all, there's actually only one person who seems to fit. The person who saw robo-justice, and the only one that has been trying to counter me this entire fucking time. Case closed! It was Celeste! It was Celeste. So I'm a suspicious individual, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke. A joke? I wonder. Dots. So, what you are saying then is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with her. That I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy worth goddamn piece of idiot. Sorry, pardona me. Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it. Is that so? It is, although throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of them. Considering what they've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together. What was it that only Hifumi and Celeste had in common in countering the suspicious individual? Their behavior the behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? Well, if Celeste and Ifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on was a way to contact Ifumi. Oh yeah! That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? Oh, I got a dick stuck in my throat. Sorry there. It was your way of telling him, we're on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea? I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know is only pretending to be dead, I certainly was not expecting this. I did not imagine that Hifumi would be murdered. Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds. I don't believe it. Everything. The whole thing was one big act. Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right? Yeah, I was feeling kind of sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait, then that was... She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office. Each piece isn't much of by itself, but starting to put them together, the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste? I have no idea what you mean. Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake. Oh, I did? I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that one little slip-up was your undoing. What are you talking about? I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office. You must be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. We're all going to die here. We're going to die just like those guys did! She already knew Taka was dead! Ah! Case closed! I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it. Then pay attention, Sakura, Toko, and I were the first one to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. She should not have known that Taka was dead! Meaning she wrote the note to get him to the equipment room and was working with Hifumi and knew that Taka was getting killed. Case freaking closed. It is over, baby. Then Makoto showed up to tell us that Hifumi had been killed, so Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were all in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it, Celeste's comment doesn't make any sense. It was completely out of place. Like, yeah, I see what you're talking about, although I don't really get what it means, man. You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right? Byakuya and Celeste's comments don't make any sense, but what is he alluding to? What was so strange about Celeste's comment? What Celeste said, when Celeste said what she did, she shouldn't have known yet. With that in mind, what's so strange about what she said is that she should not have known that Taka was dead if she was completely innocent in this and not working with Hifumi! That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead. Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen this body in the equipment room for herself. So, how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too. You have such vivid imaginations. You know that? Imaginations? You claimed that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then, what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costume villain dragging Hifumi away? Hifumi was dragging him away! They had been drinking, they had been dancing. It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away. That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in the picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robo suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even further. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice it'd be suspicious. Like, that's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this, man! Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragged away. Ridiculous. Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all. Shut your mouth and allow me to educate you. Celeste thinks she can prove that there's no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible? If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight. You can't bend at the waist! Soichigarudo! If you already can't bend at the waist, you could perfectly stand upright. No, even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. So it wasn't a flaw in building the suit. It was planned. Because the Robo Justice suit had a certain characteristic. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used in that way. Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specifically designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake the whole thing. The point of it all makes sense. Makes us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame. Well then, I suppose this is checkmate. Checkmate? Dots. Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate? Celeste? Clearly you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem. Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying? Hey, Hifumi, who was it? Who attacked you? Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right. I remember their name. Yashihiro. When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, is it not? He said, I in quote, Yashihiro. In other words, Yashihiro Hagakure! Wait, man, but my name isn't really Yashihiro, it's like Taru! Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're now making things more complicated. He did say Yashihiro, but are we sure he was really pointing a finger at Hiro? Remember how Hifumi addressed us. Mr. Naegi, Mr. Hagakure. Meaning, if he says a name, it's the last name. Yashihiro is his first name. He was referring to someone else. What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive! Kyoko, what do you mean by that? Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us? By people's last names. Miss Yashihiro! That's right, our last names. He called us by our last names. Exactly. I know I heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure. I'm sure it was just incidental by chance. He just hit the first name. Incident? Don't talk. Random chance. No, it isn't that a convenient explanation. No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more. So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him. But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here. Unless Celeste. That isn't her real name. Remember at the beginning of the game where I was confused it wasn't Japanese? That's not her real name. Well, no, hold on. There's one person it could apply to. And that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is. What did you just say? To think you make such false accusations so far? I don't know whether to laugh or spit. Come on, enough with your idiotic blather. Yashihiro is a loser's name. I don't like a loser, like it's a loser to you. Well, do I? What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge. Okay, to fill us in, what's your real name? Fine, make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up. My real name is Celeste Ludenberg, so you can please stop making me repeat myself over and over and over again. Celeste still won't give up, so then I have to do something to make her accept it. And remember what Kyoko said to keep in mind about. Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yashihiro. If there's one person here who might have had the last name, it would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told us anyone your real name is. How many times do I have to tell you? My name is Celeste Lunenburg! God damn it! How long are you going on pretending? I'm not pretending, it's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me, just let me see that handbook then, bitch! Checkmate. That's it, the handbook. Nani? Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before. Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on your crimes. And that'll bring everything to an end. Let's do it, boyos. Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes. First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room late last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect, so when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into a Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did it all just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into a pool locker room. And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer 4 was used is to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So next, they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure they brought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2, and an injured Hifumi was to sell this story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds, that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in an order as they did. We fell into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that, but while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself apparently had been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group had been out searching, found Taka's body at the same time, so when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of this situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. Once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room. and wrap Taka's body up in a tarp, and use the dolly to move it all the way to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did all of it using an ordinary everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is... Celeste. Sorry, you lose. Complete! I lost? I lost? When was the last time I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang around my neck. Then you admit it. You're the killer. Listen, you trying to take charge as if you're my private instructor. I, Celeste Ludenberg, actually, no. Takeo Yashihiro is fine. Takeo? So you finally accepted it. I'm the kind of person that once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on. Interesting. Bam. Hell yeah. Give me those coins. Okay, Monokuma, I am ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it? It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote, okay? Okay? If you would, please locate your lever and cast your vote. And then when the votes are tallied, who will become the Blackened? Will you make the right choice or the dreadfully wrong one? What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be? Looks like it's checkmate, Celeste. I still thought my Mondo exercise one was pretty good. It's basically a formality at this point, but once again, you're totally correct. The Blackened this time, the true killer who devised the whole stinking scheme was Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely, Takeo Yashihiro! I lost? Well, that sucks. I guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Hifumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations. So you really did approach Hifumi with this plan. But how did you get him to agree? She stole the laptop. I can't imagine he would happily agree to commit murder. I'm sure she relied on her speciality. Lying. No, she stole the laptop. My speciality? Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get to him to agree. Then did you use, you know? I knew you'd figured it out, Kyoko. You're absolutely right. To get Hifumi to act as my accomplice, I used her. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the only thing Hifumi and Taka were both super into. Does she mean she's talking about alter ego? What? What are you talking about? Don't interrupt. We're in the middle of a very important conversation here. I'm totally out of the loop, as usual. How sad. Then you're the one who stole it? That's right. And you used it to drag Hifumi into your plan that you'd come up with. Right again. Hifumi agreed without a second thought. The effect that item has on him was remarkable. The power of love. Even a love as twisted as that can still drive people mad, it would seem. Like, you disgust me, man. And I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation? Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt, too. All I asked him to do was make something to hide a face of a general body size. I had no idea he'd make something like that. But it's my fault for picking him in the first place. So, like, why'd you decide to make me the suspect, man? Because you're stupid. Like, that's it? And in that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must be have been tough on your parents, though. Like, I feel like I could cry, man. But when you were explaining your plan to Hifumi, how did you explain the part where of him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that, assuming you had actually let him live? That's simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead, once someone showed up, I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. And he really believed that? Well, of course, he wasn't all that wasn't all there was to it. As I explained to Hifumi, the plan was, while you were all questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have an alibi, so nobody could have doubted him. I told him that, and he believed it. It all seems very straightforward, stereotypical. I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death. So you had planned to kill him all along? But of course. There would have been no point in my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself. How can a human life mean so little to you? That's a non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win. Like, now you sound like Byakuya, man! No, he derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. In that aspect, we are nothing alike. Then what made you take things this far? Money! Was it really just for money? Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered us? That is a lot of money, it's true. But that's not all there is to it. From the moment our new life began here, my only thought had been escape. Like, but all you've been saying is how you have to accept living here, man. Obviously that was a lie! Like, huh? I couldn't take it! I hated it from day one! More than anyone else in here! I wanted to get out! Every day was a fresh torture! And do you want to know why? Huh? Because I had a dream. And accepting a life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever. And there was no way that I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing. And it was all for that dream. And what is this dream of yours? To live in a European castle. A castle? Oh Jesus, see, I knew she just wanted men to, like, cater to her every whim. And to gather handsome men from all over the world to serve as my butlers/bodyguards. Well, good thing I'm off the list, because I'm not handsome. My main goal is to be ugly, and then act like I don't know nobody. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence. Living the rest of my life there was my only dream, but my only goal. And my only goal. That's what life is about! Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but unfortunately, my dream had been scattered in the wind. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream till the end. So why would I? You sound so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it? Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a pointless endeavor. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing. That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Isn't it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding. That's what we should be saying. Plus, how could you be so calm? Do you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? My ability to lie is unrivaled, and I take pride in that. It's not just other people. I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious. And that's why you're not scared? That's right. I don't fear death. Kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had the choice, then I think I would like to come back as Marie Antoinette. You're just like, but you'd just be like executed again, man. Celeste smiled then, and when she did, it looked at me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings, but that statement itself must have been her final lie, and that weak fake smile is what betrayed her. Are you done? Okay then, let's get rolling. The black can disturb the peace and must pay the price. Now then, I prepared a very special punishment for her. The ultimate gambler. Let's give everything we've got. It's punishment time! I guess I'll let Kyoko hold on to this. This is Will it really give you hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why. Actually, it's not important. Well then, take care everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again in another life. Game over. Celeste has been found guilty. Time for the punishment. Well, at least she got that castle she wanted. The burning of the Versailles Witch. Is that how you pronounce it? Whew, thank God Monokuma was there to put out that fire. It's over. The third execution is over. Celeste's death is over. Celeste killed my friends, so I can't pity. Yeah, I can't pity. She killed Taka. There's no room for excuse. You can't kill Taka. You can't kill... Well, actually, I guess Hifumi did that, but it was her plan all along, so I'm still putting some blame onto her. They killed my man's Taka. This can never be accepted. But I can't also deny that at one point I considered her as a friend, too. And for him to just come along and... Isn't it just awful? Someone couldn't cut free of their own regrets from the outside world, and so more people had to die. You guys are still young. You need to place more value on your lives. Jeez. And here I hope you guys are going to pass the torch of hope to the next generation. Well, like, what do you mean? What do you care about hope, man? I'll throw it into the trash if you just let me out of here, man. You're all embodiment of hope, whether you like it or not. And it's my destiny to knock you down one by one. It's sad, yes it is, but the reality just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you're not responsible. How long are you gonna make us keep going through this? What do you want from us? God, I'm so sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest already. So, anyway, Kyoko, did I see you got some kind of key-type object from Celeste? So, what's the deal with that? Dots. Huh? What's the matter? I'll answer your question if you answer mine. What did you do? What did you do to me? What? Answer me. What did you do to my body? What? I didn't touch you inappropriately or anything. Oh man, oh jeez. Oh man, oh jeez. What do you mean? What did I do? I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. Dots. What was that just now? The mastermind did something to Kyoko's body? What do you mean? Okay, things are getting kinda awkward. I think it's about time we got out of here. Meanwhile, you guys can go on enjoying your school life. If you get lonely, give me a shout. Not that I'll do anything about it, of course. Oop, boop, 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 see ya! Monokuma disappeared, leaving us all depressed and in despair. Although it wasn't all despair. There was one small hope. Hey, Kyoko, Monokuma already mentioned it, but what's the key that Celeste gave you? Most likely, it's the key to one of the dressing room lockers. What? Then that means... Celeste probably hid it in there. I suppose sometimes it's easiest to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well then, we better go check. Good idea. We left the courtroom and rushed to the dressing room. Alrighty then, my weeaboos. That's gonna do it for this one. And the end of chapter 3. Had to kind of cut it short. There's still a little bit of chapter 3 because it's so long, because it basically signifies that you're more than halfway through the game. So yeah, we've pretty much made it. We're more than halfway through, boys. Get ready for chapter 4. I'll see you all in the next one.